Hi, my name is Stacey Mourier, and I'm the founding lawyer of Estate Connection Law Office in St. Albert, Alberta. Do you have a sibling that maybe isn't involved in the care of your parents? You're the one who has to take mom and dad to all the doctor's appointments, maybe check in on them at the extended care facility, go get their prescriptions, those types of tasks that you do out of love for your parents. Well, you may want to think twice about taking any money from your parents for these services. And let me tell you a story that didn't end well for a family. Our client had been contacted our office because her brother was a dentist and he had not been involved with his parents' care. He was working and making good money. And this client, who was a stay at home mom, had been the one who had taken her parents to all the appointments. And things were tight for her. Her family was having a hard time making ends meet and just paying the costs of their family, let alone paying for parking at the U of A hospital, or maybe, having to pay for gas that went in the vehicle. So the mom graciously chose to fill up the car with gas when her daughter took her to her appointments, or, bought her a coffee on their way to the U of A hospital. And at the end of the day, on $1 million estate, the brother, the dentist, wanted her to repay all these gifts. He said that at the end of the day, she did not have the right to take that money for those services. And that if she was going to be compensated, he should be compensated too. You can imagine how that sister felt. Not only was she upset that now she's fighting with her brother about money, but she felt she wasn't appreciated for the time that she had put into taking care of her parents. Yes, she loved them, but did her brother really think that she took advantage of her parents for a cup of coffee? And for those of you that have had to hire caregivers for people, you know that the cost per hour is quite a bit more than a cup of coffee on your way to the hospital. At the end of the day, we took on the file and we were able to negotiate a settlement where our client didn't have to repay back any of those costs. But you can imagine that relationship is broken forever. And for that reason, when you are doing a power of attorney or personal care directive, we strongly recommend that you consider putting compensation in there. I know your children are going to do it out of love when they take care of you, but sometimes financially they just can't afford to. For those of you that have been at the U of A, you can spend $30 a day on parking at that hospital, and if you're there for 4 or 5 days, that can really add up if you're on a limited budget. So make sure that those types of costs are covered in your documents to prevent any fighting after you're gone. And if it looks like you are headed that way, make sure you incorporate in your will a clause that says any monies that have been gifted to your children are forgiven and don't have to be repaid. Now, you might think that this was just a one-off for our office, but unfortunately, we see it all the time. We had a client once who, was an executor of an estate along with her brother. And, they had divided the work so that she was responsible for cleaning up the inside of the house, filing papers, washing the floors and all of that. And her brother was responsible for the outdoor activities. So cutting the grass, it was an acreage, cleaning up the yard so that it could go for sale. At the time, the female client, the sister, thought that they were doing things equally. She didn't know how to drive a tractor, so she let her brother do it while she mopped the floors. Now, I don't know which one actually did more work than the other. I honestly couldn't tell you. But at the end of the day, that brother wanted money for the work he had done in the yard. He didn't put any value on what his sister had done and was seeking $15,000 for all the work of rototilling, cutting the grass, cleaning it all up, making trips to the dump. And you know what? His sister, because she loved her brother and didn't want to fight with him, agreed to give him that money. And his last words as he took that check from our office was, "I will never talk to my sister ever again." You can imagine the heartbreak, not only for that sister, but for our office to see that a family was going to break up over $15,000 that may or may not be owed to one sibling. These are the types of things that we see often in our office, and it's important to do proper planning so you can avoid these problems. If you look at your will and you think, there could be a fight, contact our office. We'll review the will with you and let you know whether there should be some changes so that problems won't arise when you're no longer here. Questions or concerns, give our office a call. Thank you.